Be honest. Is there a number in your bank account right now that you're scared to actually look at?
That's a good one.
I've been there. Hey, I've been there. Have you been there? When I open it up that way and you hear that, what comes up for you? And if you want me, and I can, and if you want me to give a little more color, I can do that.
Nah, I can. I'm ready to double dutch. What's that? I'm ready to jump in. So I've been there in two ways. So back in my undergrad days, I've been there literally to where like, man, I might got $1.87 in my checking account, and my work study don't hit for another week or two, and it's like, man, and it hit different because you don't got no emergency fund built up, you don't got no credit available to you. So that checking account, that's like, yo, back in the day, you got your wallet, that's it. You got your money under the mattress. That was it for real. That was the money under the mattress. And that runs low, you low. You know what I'm saying? So back in the day, that was that was fun. But you always figure out a way to make it happen. But more recently, I would say now my financial journey has evolved. I'm kind of at a different part of the journey now to where, like I mentioned, emergency fund is more built up, have access to more credit. So now it's not so much scared to look at my checking account. Now it's more so scared to look at how much credit you owe. It's like, okay, you got to pay that back now. You spent that. Now you weren't scared to spend it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, that's 2 points in my journey though, where I would say, didn't want to look at a number. Rather not look at that number.
So, why do you think that is for you? Why was it that you didn't want to look at the number? It wasn't going to change you not looking at it. It's
It
like,
makes it real.
yeah.
No,
So,
it makes it real, and you gotta do something about it at that point. Once you look at it, because you type person. So when things stay fuzzy, that's when you're not able to measure it and actually know if things are improving or not. You can just keep telling yourself, "Oh, I'm doing the right thing." Back in the day, "Oh, the work study's coming," versus, "Okay, I only have $1 in my checking account. I had 500 2 weeks ago. What's going on?" And like, what really break it down versus, you know what? I'd rather just keep the cycle going because I like this cycle. It makes me feel good. I like spending on what I like to spend. And that's not a good thing. But I'm just that, especially back then, especially like now with the credit, I would say similar answer. You like the lifestyle, so you don't want to look too much into it because you know that when you start looking at certain things and seeing certain transactions, you're gonna be like, man, I'm tripping, man. What am I up to? Like, man, I can cut back for a little bit and get low. You know what I'm saying? You gotta sit with that guilt versus not even looking at it.
so do you think? So would you, if you had to label it in terms of an emotion, would you say, would it be shame? Would it be like the fear of what the balance revealed to you, and then it's some deeper discussion, some deeper action, some deeper discussion, some deeper thoughts, but that which will lead to action, which you're speaking about, of like changing your lifestyle, or maybe you can't do what you've been doing. Like, what do you think it is?
I would say shame, fear, and avoidance. And it might be more of a behavior, but
Yeah.
avoidance for sure. Yeah.
But that's always interesting. Obviously, we're not in a situation right now, and we're not immune to it. But I just always wonder, like, why? What is that thing that makes us avoid the mirror, avoid the scale, avoid the bank account? Because we talk about money right now. Because logically, it's like if you look at the bank account, at least you can assess where you are, and then you can make an adjustment. Now, it may not be an easy adjustment because you may have to go through the struggle because you balled out, you spent it up, or maybe you just didn't even have enough to begin with, and you was already extending yourself, or you wanted your cake and eat it too, but your bank account said something different. Said your bank account said you can't have your cake and eat it too. You got hey you really wanted filet mignon, but you really had that Chick-fil-A budget, so to speak, and you was like, you closed your eyes and you just swiped. You went to the steakhouse, you like, and you just swiped, and then you knew. Because I remember in college, which I didn't have too many of those moments because I worked full time. But there are some times where you overspend, and then you hand the card and you like, is it gonna go through? Is it gonna go through? Bam, zip. Now that I'm thinking about that, man, it's crazy. It's living on the edge, bro. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right, so I got a question for you. So, what's a specific memory growing up that you think is still running your decisions today?
Wow, that's deep. You said a specific memory?
A money memory.
Man.
Money memory.
Okay. Ooh, that changes my answer then. If it's specifically about money,
Hmm.
Man, I'll be honest. I remember being 15, got my learner's permit. You know, did what I'm supposed to do. Killing the grades, got my learner's permit. All my friends starting to get their cars. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, okay. All right, well, I know we're not the Jetsons. I'm not saying we're not Richie Rich in them, so I'm not expecting the BMW, the Jeep or nothing, but man, I'm finna be using this car for productive means. You know, I was student council president, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I got things I need to do. But I just remember, I don't remember. I remember it was one conversation where something just in me shifted. And because, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I'm the baby, I'm spoiled. So, you know, I'm used to asking for stuff, especially when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? But for some reason, just in that conversation, something shifted in me. And I realized, like, we truly can't afford it. Even if they wanted to be like, because you know how our mama is. She probably, if I wore her down enough, she probably would find a way to do it. But I realized this could break us though. Like I shouldn't do this. Like we can't afford this. And like I just feel like I never went back after that. You know what I mean?
But what was the memory? What was
The memory was, man,
the context?
everybody around me is getting cars. And I'm not saying everybody's getting Lambos, but everybody's got transportation. Meanwhile, I got to bum rides off of teachers, get rides off of friends, get rides off of everybody. Wait at the school till 6, 7, 8 p.m. Waiting for my parents to get off of work. And so it's not to complain about it because, man, a lot of people really stepped up and helped me out. And I had a lot of great conversations with people during those rides, man. So, you know, it all worked itself out. And I was the type of kid, I was going to figure it out. This was pre-Uber. So you know, you can't just, hey man, send me hey, let me take an Uber to nah. And you know, and our city isn't walkable. So that rides really mean something. And so, man, you know, I really appreciate like a lot of those people with taking me on rides to where I was going to study, going to school events, and just plain taking me home at the end of the day, you know. And so I really appreciated that.
Yeah. Well, I tell you one thing, the beautiful part is everything is like 15 minutes away, like 15, 15, 20 minutes away. Like you can get across one side of town to the other side of town. That's what I really miss versus like it is Houston traffic. Probably kind of similar to you, the Boston traffic. Man, depending on what time of day, it's bumper to bumper. And so it's funny being in Gulfport and they talk, man, it's traffic. And sure it's traffic, but you know what traffic look like, where you might as well put on a good song or put on a good audiobook because it's going to be a minute before you get home.
Man, I was tripping yesterday. It was the end of a Red Sox game. I didn't realize it. They beat the Yankees. I don't know why. I thought I was about to get out of the neighborhood quickly. It was so much congestion.
All right, so I got another question for you. Do you oversave, overspend, or swing between both? What does that pattern protect you from feeling?
That's a good one. You said swing between both.
Yeah, oversave, overspend.
I would say if I look at myself, I would call myself. I would maybe put myself in the oversaver category, but I don't. When we talking about mentality, I don't know. I don't even want to say oversaver, but I think my vice has been the under planner. I don't think I've been over anything. I don't think I've been spending too much. I don't think I've been because you know what I'm saying, like for instance, like I'll get into real life, like just recently, man, my catalytic converter went out. It wasn't nothing I could do about that. You know what I'm saying? And so that's 3K right there, almost 3K. And so my point is I'm throwing real numbers out because I'm saying some of it is consumer spending. Some of it can be like, man, you didn't need that $5 or $10 shirt, or you didn't need all those coffees. But sometimes life gonna throw something at you. And so if you're not planning for it though, and if these things aren't coming out of nowhere, you should know your car needs your car's gonna need something. You know what I'm saying? And so not having drop funds and things like that, just under planning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now that's good. I think I've been in all of the other part of the question is what does that pattern protect you from feeling? So you said that you fall into the under planning. So are you protecting yourself from something? Are you not planning enough? Why aren't you planning enough? Let me say it that way.
That's a good question. So for me, because I'm glad we talked about this because I recently thought about this stuff and I realized that, man, I've been in my current role 8 months, right? And prior to that, I was unemployed looking for a role for about 2 months, maybe call it 3 months, round up and call it 3 months. I realized that like emotionally and mentally, I was still, and before those 2, 3 months of unemployment, I knew I was going to leave the job. So I knew I was going to quit and leave for about maybe a month and a half, but I still was, biding my time. But man, I realized that I kind of was arrested and stuck in that emotional sensation of like either about to leave the job and like uncertain of what's going to happen, or boom, just left the job. And like, you got to figure it out now. You don't have a job. You're full-time searcher. And so you got some money saved up, But man, Boston don't care about that. Give it enough time, it's gonna like Ali versus it's gonna knock that money out. And so you got to be quick and figure out something. And so you just really adapt to put all your chips in the short term survival table. You know what I'm saying? You put all your chips in and go all in on short term, and you're pretty sure it's going to work. But still, you gotta okay. Once it does work and it hits, now you gotta adjust the strategy and get. I can see how gamblers get addicted to certain. You know what I'm saying? That rush of that, not the rush, but like you got to train your mindset back out of that. Like if you're a football player, if you're NFL, if you're anything, you got to adapt back to the real world. What got you success in that arena not come back to the real world and be real citizens with us and do long-term strategies and don't just focus on survival. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So okay. So you saying that you were still finding yourself in survival?
Yeah, and it's crazy because I ended up putting myself, I don't want to say putting myself, but like through the combination of like I said, life happening, mechanic bill, this bill, dentist bills, and then just not planning. I actually ended up owing more money now than I did when I was unemployed, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And so like my emergency fund is right around the same. I think I've added some to it, maybe 1,000 or two, but I've got more debt now than I did then. And it's just because of lack of planning and feeling like I said, imagine you feel like you just got chased by a lion, but then the lion, I don't know, you beat the lion. So now you feel like you chilling. You're not worried about going to plan out the next week or you just like, man, I just got chased by a lion. I made it. I'm good for, let me take a breath. But okay, once you take your breath, now what? It's time to plan. It's time to get ready for the next, you in the forest. So it's going to be more lions, it's going to be bears, it's going to be whatever.
Yeah.
Make yourself a weapon. I'm just,
Yeah, I'll give you another. The other side of that is you hit a milestone, and then you know how, for example, in NASCAR they celebrate. They have the winners lap. Where they just and then they had and then they just celebrate. But then they do it in basketball. Like for example, the Knicks just won, so they did the parade, and so everybody celebrating, got the goggles on, champagne. But then what if you stay in purgatory celebration for too long before you get back into the game to go and hit the next target that you can celebrate again? Instead, you just been in this state of celebration and you just been spinning, going crazy. So I found I've done that before too. But then I've also hit milestones and then celebrated all. And just like, all right, what's next? And it's like, whoa, whoa, slow down. Like, hold on, slow down. That was significant. Like, hold up. Like this calls for a celebration. So I've calibrated from that. But then now, especially when you have your finances or you just always got to be on your game, and it doesn't mean that you're gonna be perfect, but because then that's the other side of it. You can find yourself in celebration mode too long, and then hey man, let's go hit. Hey, we gonna be back on next week. Next week, okay, all right, July. Hey, we back in it. And before you know it, you blink. It's like, oh, snap. We've been celebrating for 6 months. Whoa, what happened? So, but yeah, so that's a reality too. That's definitely a reality too.